One, and actually, I'm so sorry. I haven't been really making any more videos lately these days. For my YT, and anyways, I gotta start being better at that, and etc. Anyways, not to talk about that a ton, but actually, there is a certain subject that has been on my mind that actually has kind of crossed it too. So, and again, this is basically on the whole Warner Brothers slash deal with Netflix and stuff like that, and just my overall feelings if I like this idea or if I don't. And again, I'm not saying I'm opposed to it. It's interesting on that they would go with Netflix. And a lot of people have been talking about it, so I'm going to talk about it. But before we do, make sure you like, comment, share, and not only like, comment, and share, but please do, and that is to subscribe to this channel and turn on all public notifications or personal of your own choosing. And yeah, with that being said, let's get started. Okay, so apparently, and again, this is what I think. This is the most interesting subject because you get a powerhouse. I think I'm saying this right, but actually, you get a powerhouse streaming service that is making some of the best TV shows of all time. Excuse me. With like Stranger Things, and you get the Full House reboot, Fuller House, and stuff like that. On one side of things too, you get is another powerhouse. What on the movie side of things, and what they can do over at Warner Brothers, and it's just like. Is this a good thing or is this a bad thing? And that's mainly what I'm trying to tell you and all that. And personally, I just think that with these two, separately, yes, they're big time powerhouses, like I just said. But also, I even feel like, and again, I do personally like what Warner Brothers was doing separately, even before this whole thing happened, with a company purchasing a company much like Warner Brothers, and the same situation happened when stuff like Star Wars and Marvel was going through the same exact thing with something like trying to build Disney on what it is. And it's a great home for basically Disney to have stuff like Star Wars and Lucasfilm, and also Marvel and Kevin Feige and the people over there. They were from a studio that actually was like like your average comic book thing, until we find out later on that actually this is much bigger than that. So that's basically where it's kind of like that's what Netflix is trying to do with WB, where basically they take the biggest IPs of all time, like Looney Tunes or DC, or if it's not DC, it could be like Mortal Kombat, whatever it is, like Tom and Jerry, all of that. And you get movies like Sinners and Mickey 17, and stuff like that. That I guess would be on Netflix, but still. In this next clip, I'm gonna focus on the reactions that I feel separately with Netflix, and watching on that through streaming versus theaters and just in general movies, if you kind of know what I mean. So, Netflix. This is what I think. Netflix is a great thing to, cause getting, well, like I said, is streaming. But here's the thing. With the whole thing with what HBO Max is, how are they gonna incorporate, the essence that makes HBO Max so worthy of watching, when basically Netflix is basically the same thing? And that's where I'm trying to figure that out. Like, where's the essence that creates HBO in Netflix? If that kind of makes sense. And also with Netflix too, which I have seen this before, and I hope they do not do this for their movies, but only certain movies they can do that. Sometimes they have Netflix original movies, but only show those Netflix original movies on Netflix, and that does not touch theaters. On the other side of things with WB, I feel like that, I want to go to the theater. I want to go see, a movie there and see, all these colors of, oh, look, here's, Daffy the Duck, or, like Batman or Scorpion, if that kind of makes sense, on the screen, in the form of a movie. If that does make sense. I even feel like too with WB, and maybe if you guys agree with me or not, but WB created something that actually was so cool. But I've been hearing, and again, I never get political, but again, there's people in the world that talk about political stuff, that actually go and say, okay, this is a bad thing. Oh my gosh, Netflix is bidding Warner Brothers in the world of entertainment. Right. But it's just there's a part of me that says, why that this is happening. But even though it is happening, I feel like that, for two companies, that one's with streaming, the other is with, movies. I try to, I just say, anything that's labeled under, WB, Friends, or Big Bang Theory, or, The Wizard of Oz, or even so, Wicked is possibly, labeled as a WB movie. Wouldn't it be weird to see that on Netflix? Because these are already movies that rather have already been in theaters, or maybe if they got in a 3 hours to call release, it then goes into Netflix. That's how it should be. Instead of hey, Netflix is going to acquire WB films and shows, right? But I think when you are two separate entities, think outside the box and just say to yourself, this is what I would want. Do that. Don't and stick to your routes. Not this other ET overgear when it's all okay, Netflix put out a WB movie that we don't know, but it never got released to theaters. They're two separate things, but it just when you think about it, come on, man, really? Also, as kind of like, more of the idea of like, theme parks kind of thing. It's just kind of interesting because now we all heard news in word that Universal wants to be the home of the properties that actually would acquire characters like what I just said in the very beginning of this video, like a costume of like Daffy the Duck, or Scorpion, like I said, Batman, Superman, basically anybody that you can imagine in the world of animation and or live action at all. Like maybe we'll get like a Doctor for Phosphorus kind of thing, which is cool. We may get a Supergirl, Green Lantern, or Tom and like a costumed Tom and Jerry, if that kind of makes sense. And I'm a little curious what that would look like, because again, if they are acquiring theme parks now into all this stuff now, makes me to even think, when you go and look at the world of like entertainment, if that's gonna change, we get a new change and basically incorporating rides and stuff like that in theme parks, like I said, Universal. So I don't know what you guys feel about that. And also, I just want to know what all your thoughts are with, yes, this whole idea of what this video was all about, and part that, but also part what Universal is up to with the WB licensed characters, especially like Scooby-Doo, if it kind of makes sense too, which I actually won't mind seeing that, see people dressed up as Shaggy and Velma and Fred, and then get Scooby-Doo. So yeah, that'd be quite something. Or Shazam. Anyways, tell me in the comments what you all think about both of these newses. They're very interesting news. And also, like I said, and you can give me in the comments if you are against or if you are for the Netflix WB, what do you call it, quote unquote deal and all of that. And yeah. So thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. To like, comment, and not only like and comment, but please do, and that is to subscribe for more. And guys, well, like I said before, and I'm going to say it again, we are nearing the last couple of weeks of December, and as that we narrow down these last couple of videos of this year, I cannot believe that after all this time and after all of this year, you guys have been true designated fans, and I hope that you continue to by, like I said before, like, comment, sharing, subscribing, sharing these videos to others, and it means the world to me. And while I always say it's not in all of my videos, but in some of them, to drop it in the comments for ideas for videos. I'll write them down and also gather my thoughts, and then I will talk about it and all that, and I'll try my best to even make them.